Jeff Bezos' $10 billion Kuiper is dying. ULA just shocked everyone by failing spectacularly. 70 missions backed up, rockets breaking down mid-launch. Amazon deliberately snubbed SpaceX, but now they're secretly begging Elon for help. The leaked truth? Bezos might lose everything to the FCC deadline, but wait until you hear what SpaceX is demanding in return. Let's dive right in. Here's what nobody wants to admit. SpaceX has already won the space race, and they're making everyone else pay for it. While Amazon burns through $10 billion, SpaceX launches every 2.7 days like it's routine. But this isn't just about reliability. This is about SpaceX turning rocket science into rocket manufacturing. Think about this. ULA takes months to prepare a single launch. SpaceX ? They launched 96 times last year. That's not twice as good. That's a completely different universe of capability. But here's the twisted part. Amazon knew this. They had the data, yet they still chose to bet against the house. Picture this scene. June 16th, Cape Canaveral. Amazon's second Kuiper launch sits on the pad, ready to prove ULA can deliver. Weather clears. Countdown begins. Then, engineering failure. Gaseous nitrogen purge line overheating. ULA's CEO Tory Bruno announces they need more evaluation. Industry translation? We have no idea what went wrong. But while ULA engineers scratch their heads, SpaceX launched 3 more missions that same week. 3 more missions. This is when Amazon executives started having their late-night panic meetings because the math was becoming undeniable. ULA's success rate? Maybe 85% on schedule. SpaceX ? They're hitting 99.43% success with ridiculous frequency. The brutal truth? Amazon needs 35 to 40 launches per year to meet their deadline. ULA can deliver maybe 5 to 8 if everything goes perfectly. The gap isn't just big, it's mathematically impossible to close. But surely Ariane 6 could save the day? This is where the story gets almost comical. Ariane 6 has flown exactly twice. Twice! Amazon is betting half their constellation on a rocket that's still figuring out how to reach orbit consistently. The European Space Agency promised Amazon the moon, but they can barely manage low Earth orbit on schedule. Here's the insider secret. European contractors are privately panicking. One unnamed executive reportedly told colleagues, "We sold Amazon a dream, but we're delivering a nightmare." The manufacturing lines are still broken from years of delays. Supply chains are fragmented across multiple countries. They're promising 6 Kuiper launches per year when they can barely manage 5 total launches annually. Amazon executives are watching their European partners flounder while SpaceX launches more rockets in a month than Ariane 6 has flown in its entire existence. Now here's where this gets personal for Bezos. His own rocket company, the one he's poured billions into, can't even help save his satellite project. New Glenn was supposed to be operational years ago. Instead, it's sitting on the ground while SpaceX racks up launch after launch. Imagine the boardroom conversations. Bezos probably asked his Blue Origin team, "Why can't we do what SpaceX does?" The answer, because SpaceX didn't just build a rocket. They built a rocket factory. While Blue Origin perfected their engines in isolation, SpaceX was iterating, failing, learning, and scaling at industrial speed. Blue Origin employees are reportedly demoralized. They've watched SpaceX achieve in months what they've been trying to do for years. Some engineers have quietly started interviewing at other companies. The ultimate irony? Bezos owns the company that should be saving his satellite constellation, but it's the one provider that definitely can't help him. Here's what makes SpaceX's dominance so devastating. They've turned rocket launches into something that looks almost boring. Every 2.7 days, another Falcon 9 mission. Perfect landing, perfect deployment. Rinse and repeat. They've made the impossible look routine. ULA celebrates when their rocket doesn't explode. SpaceX gets annoyed when landing isn't perfectly centered. But the real kicker, cost. Falcon 9 launches cost $62 million. ULA's Vulcan? $110 million. SpaceX isn't just faster and more reliable, they're literally half the price. Amazon is paying premium prices for inferior service while watching their competitor launch superior rockets for less money. It's like buying a horse-drawn carriage while Tesla offers free rides. But here's what industry insiders don't want you to know. SpaceX's real advantage isn't their engines or their landing technology, it's their manufacturing philosophy. While ULA handcrafts each rocket like a luxury car, SpaceX builds them like Toyota builds Corollas. Mass production, quality control, rapid iteration. They've applied automotive manufacturing principles to rocket science. Elon Musk's secret sauce? The best part is no part. The best process is no process. SpaceX's Raptor 3 engine looks like a skeleton compared to previous versions. They've removed thousands of components, integrated everything through 3D printing, and created engines that are simultaneously more powerful and simpler to build. ULA is still welding rockets together piece by piece. SpaceX is 3D printing integrated engine components that would take ULA months to assemble. But here's the leaked truth that's sending shockwaves through the industry. When Amazon quietly approached SpaceX for additional launches, the negotiations took a dramatic turn. SpaceX didn't just quote higher prices, they demanded something unprecedented. Brand new Falcon 9 boosters for every single Kuiper launch. No refurbished rockets, no cost savings, premium prices for premium hardware. Why would SpaceX do this? Industry sources suggest three theories. First, it's strategic warfare. By forcing Amazon to pay premium prices, SpaceX makes their own Starlink constellation look incredibly cost-effective by comparison. Second, it's quality control. SpaceX doesn't want any possibility of failure on Amazon launches. A single SpaceX failure helping their biggest competitor would be catastrophic for their reputation. Third, and this is the theory gaining traction, it's punishment. Musk is making Bezos pay for years of public criticism and competitive posturing. The price isn't just monetary, it's psychological. Meanwhile, Amazon's satellite factory in Kirkland is producing an almost absurd situation. They can build 5 satellites per day. That's 1,800 satellites per year. But they can only launch maybe 100 satellites annually with their current partners. Picture this, hundreds of completed Kuiper satellites worth $500,000 each, sitting in warehouses, gathering dust while Amazon's launch partners struggle with basic reliability. It's like having a Ferrari factory, but being forced to transport cars with horse-drawn wagons. Factory workers describe a surreal scene. Perfect satellites, tested and ready, stacked in storage areas with nowhere to go. Each delay costs Amazon millions in lost revenue potential. The FCC deadline isn't just bureaucratic paperwork, it's a corporate death sentence. Miss July 2026, and Amazon doesn't just lose their timeline, they lose their orbital slots permanently. But here's the truly devastating part. If Amazon fails, those prime frequencies and orbital positions get redistributed. Guess who's first in line to claim them? SpaceX could potentially expand Starlink into the exact orbital slots Amazon spent years securing. Bezos wouldn't just lose his satellite internet dream, he'd be handing it directly to his biggest rival on a silver platter. Amazon employees are reportedly splitting into factions. The loyalists still believe they can make the timeline work with ULA and Blue Origin. They point to promised improvements and eventual capability increases. The realists have run the numbers. They know Falcon 9 is the only rocket with sufficient reliability and launch cadence to save Kuiper, but suggesting dependence on SpaceX is career suicide in Bezos' Amazon. Leaked internal emails reveal heated discussions about swallowing our pride and accepting reality. Some executives are reportedly preparing detailed analyses showing that SpaceX is the only viable path forward. Wall Street is watching. Amazon's board is asking hard questions about the $10 billion investment. Shareholders are demanding explanations for why their satellite internet project is being delayed, while SpaceX's Starlink rapidly expands global coverage. The financial pressure is becoming unbearable. Amazon's cloud computing division is subsidizing Kuiper's development, but that can't continue indefinitely. Every delayed launch costs Amazon millions in opportunity costs. Some analysts are quietly discussing the possibility of a massive write-down if Amazon can't demonstrate meaningful progress toward the FCC deadline. But let's talk about why SpaceX is so impossibly far ahead. It's not just about rockets, it's about revolutionizing how rockets are built. SpaceX's Raptor 3 engine produces 280 tons of thrust while weighing 170 pounds less than previous versions. They've achieved this through integrated 3D printing, eliminating thousands of components, and implementing active cooling throughout the engine structure. ULA is still building engines like it's 1960. Individual components, multiple flanges, complex assembly processes. SpaceX builds engines like it's 2030. Integrated, simplified, mass-producible. The technological gap isn't just significant, it's generational. ULA is driving horse-drawn carriages while SpaceX operates jet aircraft. Industry sources suggest Amazon faces an impossible decision within the next 3 months. They can either request an FCC deadline extension, a public admission of failure that would crater stock prices and investor confidence, or massively expand their SpaceX contract, effectively admitting that their entire launch strategy was wrong and that they need their biggest rival to save their most important project. The extension route looks increasingly impossible. The FCC has made it clear they won't tolerate indefinite delays. Other companies are lined up for those orbital slots. That leaves only one path: Elon Musk's doorstep. But here's the final twist that makes this story absolutely incredible. SpaceX might be demanding more than just premium prices for new boosters. Leaked negotiation details suggest SpaceX is considering additional conditions: priority scheduling that could bump other customers, exclusive technical data sharing, and potentially even joint mission planning. In other words, Amazon might have to give SpaceX unprecedented access to their satellite deployment strategy. They'd be paying their biggest competitor premium prices while sharing their most sensitive technical information. The man who excluded SpaceX from the original contract competition might end up giving them everything they wanted, and more, just to save his failing project. Bezos built Amazon by being ruthlessly efficient and cost-conscious. Now he's facing the possibility of paying premium prices to his biggest rival while handing over competitive intelligence just to keep his satellite dreams alive. The second richest person on Earth, brought to his knees by the simple reality that sometimes the best solution is the one you most want to avoid. So here we are, the second richest man on Earth, forced to depend on his biggest rival just to keep his dreams alive. Amazon's $10 billion gamble has become SpaceX's ultimate victory lap. But this story is bigger than just Bezos versus Musk. We're watching the entire space industry transform before our eyes. SpaceX hasn't just built better rockets. They've redefined what's possible when you treat space like a manufacturing problem instead of a research project. The real question isn't whether Amazon will survive this crisis, it's what happens next. Will other companies learn from Amazon's mistakes? Or will they keep betting against the house that never loses? And here's what keeps me up at night thinking about this. If SpaceX can rescue a $10 billion project from their biggest competitor, what exactly are they planning next? Because something tells me Kuiper is just the beginning. What do you think? Is this the end of traditional aerospace, or just another chapter in the space race? Drop your thoughts below. I read every single comment. And if you want to stay ahead of the next space industry earthquake, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The space revolution is just getting started. NASA's $150 billion space station is collapsing. Toxic leaks, cracks everywhere, astronauts literally hiding from fumes. Then Elon drops this bombshell. One Starship holds more space than the entire ISS for $10 million. NASA's cutting budgets while SpaceX builds orbital cities. Is this the end of government space programs forever? Let's dive right in. Right now, 250 miles above Earth, astronauts are literally sealing themselves into safe rooms. Toxic fumes from a Russian cargo ship just leaked into the International Space Station. Again, The crew had 30 seconds to grab emergency masks before the air became unbreathable. But here's what NASA isn't telling you. This isn't an accident anymore. It's a pattern. The Zvezda module has been leaking since 2019. Engineers can't figure out if it's stress fractures or failed welds. And here's the terrifying part. This isn't some storage closet. This is the life support headquarters. Everything keeping humans alive in space runs through this cracking, leaking module. How did we get here? The ISS is running on 1980s technology. Your smartphone has more computing power than the systems keeping astronauts alive. It's like trying to stream Netflix on Windows 95. Except when this crashes, people die. And NASA's solution? Patch it with space duct tape and hope for the best. But while they're playing maintenance crew to a dying station, something earth-shattering just happened in Texas. Picture this scene. NASA engineers who spent their entire careers building the ISS, sitting in a conference room, watching SpaceX presentations about Starship. The numbers on the screen didn't make sense. They checked them twice, 3 times. One Starship, 1,000 cubic meters of space. The entire ISS, 935 cubic meters. Launch cost for one Starship, $10 million. Total cost of the ISS, $150 billion. Can you imagine that moment? Watching your life's work become instantly obsolete. It's like master carriage builders seeing their first automobile. The game didn't just change, it ended. But wait, there's more. And this is where it gets absolutely insane. Remember when NASA said full-flow stage combustion was impossible? Too complex, too dangerous, too expensive. Russian engineers tried it for decades. They failed. American engineers called it a fool's errand. Then SpaceX walked into the room with Raptor 3. This engine produces 280 tons of thrust. That's 100,000 pounds more than Raptor 2. But here's the kicker. It weighs 170 pounds less. How is that even possible? It's like making a Ferrari faster by removing the engine block. The secret? SpaceX eliminated 1,000 external parts. 1,000. They didn't just redesign the engine, they reimagined what an engine could be. While NASA patches leaks with billion-dollar Band-Aids, SpaceX is printing rocket engines with metal 3D printers. And the efficiency? 350 seconds specific impulse. That's only 10 seconds behind the legendary RS-25 that powers